Today we're taking a deep dive into the 2026 Kawasaki W800 Special Edition, a motorcycle that bridges the gap between the classic and the contemporary. This is for riders who love heritage, style, and enough performance to make each ride feel special. We'll cover key features, design cues, performance aspects, what makes the Special Edition stand out, pricing, and whether this is a bike that should be on your short list. Let's get rolling. The heart of the W800 SE is its engine, a 773cc, air-cooled, vertical twin, parallel twin, 4-stroke, using Kawasaki's heritage bevel gear camshaft arrangement. It's built to produce strong torque in the low to mid-RPM range. Riders report that the engine feels mellow when cruising, but with enough grunt when you open it up, especially around 4,000 to 6,000 revolutions per minute. This is typical of the W800 line. Kawasaki 1. Color finishes. The Special Edition badge means you get more premium touches, often blacked out or dark engine components, special tank emblems, more upscale paint trim. In past incarnations, the SE has featured gold anodized wheel rims, blacked or matte black exhausts, contrasting striping or accents. Wikipedia 3. Chrome versus black. Traditional parts like the exhaust, the tank badges, etc., get more premium treatment. For example, parts that might be polished metal or chrome on the regular edition may be matte or blacked for contrast. The riding position, fairly upright, relaxed handlebars, a long tuck-and-roll style seat with ribbing, good for two-up riding. Seat height is modest, about 790mm, so accessible to many riders. Kawasaki Europe 2. Lighting instrumentation. The headlamp is retro-styled but modern and tech-led in many regions, with classic round ring, lens design, etc. Instrument cluster is dual dials for speed and revs, often with a classic face and design cues to evoke the vintage Kawasaki W lineage. Kawasaki Europe 2. On city streets, this bike shines where you don't need blistering top end. The usable torque lowdown means good roll-on acceleration from mid-range. Second and third gear usable without huge effort. Keeps a smooth pulse, especially given vibration is controlled reasonably well in modern build. On highways, it can cruise, but because it is air-cooled, upright, with retro tires and styling, the wind resistance and lack of extreme high RPM power means that highway work is okay but not its strongest suit. If you're expecting sport bike speeds, this isn't that. It's more about style plus experience. Handling. Because of its wheel sizes, frame setup, mass, it won't flip into corners like a lighter sport model, but it offers stable, planted behavior, confidence in sweeping turns. Suspension soaks up irregularities pretty well for its class. Rear preload adjust lets you tune a bit if you have pillion or luggage. Braking, good feel. ABS adds safety especially in wet. Emergency stops. Disc setup is sufficient. Not racing spec, but more than enough for the bike's performance envelope. Premium aesthetics, more striking contrast finishes, gold or black accents, Special Edition badges. It's something that appeals to buyers who want to stand out. Heritage nostalgia. The W800 line is one of the most successful retro-styled bikes in the Kawasaki stable. The SE version leans more heavily into that heritage. For someone who values retro styling as much as function, that matters. Usability plus style. You get enough modern feature as a fuel injection, ABS, reliable twin, modern suspension to make it practical day-to-day, but with the charm and emotion of the old school. Accessibility. The seat height, /790mm, relatively simple mechanical setup, air cooling, fewer electronics than a full modern sport bike, less intimidating power makes it a bike many can live with and enjoying. While I haven't found a specific published MSRP for the 2026 Special Edition in all markets, some sources still list the 2025 model. We can use previous pricing as a benchmark. For example, the 2025 W800 ABS in the US lists for about $10,399. Motorcycle.com 4. The Special Edition trim typically adds a premium over the base, standard W800, for the upgraded finishes, special items, etc. Depending on taxes, import, dealer markup, that could translate to several hundred to $1,000 more in US, and likely more in other regions. So you might expect US $11,000, 12,000 plus or equivalent in other currencies, for the SE, in many markets. Weight, around 216 226 kilograms weight depending on region and equipment. For a retro bike that's not horribly heavy, but not featherlight. That weight shows in maneuvers. Kawasaki Europe 2, limited electronics. This is by design. You don't get fancy riding modes, or huge digital displays, or aggressive performance electronics. If you want cutting-edge tech, you may prefer something more modern. Top-end, high-speed, not built to dominate highways. Engine feels more at home at lower revs. Wind buffering at high speeds because of upright posture may be tiring. Cost of ownership, Vintage-looking parts and finishes often need more care. Painting, chrome, badges, etc. may require more upkeep, and air-cooled engines can suffer more in very hot or very cold extremes. If you're someone who loves classic motorcycle aesthetics, the sound, the feel of a vintage machine, but want something you can ride every day without complete compromises, the 2026 Kawasaki W800 Special Edition is a compelling option. It gives you enough performance, comfort, and reliability, wrapped in style that appeals to both nostalgic riders and those who appreciate craftsmanship. If you care more about outright sport performance, high top speeds, cutting-edge electronics, you'll want to compare it with modern retro sport models. But if character, presence, and that blend of heritage with usable performance are what you value, this bike delivers.